Long time no see.
Seriously.
I know, right? You're tired of me by now.
Not at all. Not at all.
Oh, let me just read.
Hey, Winnell.
Hey, Carrie.
Hello, Carrie.
So sorry. Oh, hold a minute.
Hi, Rosella.
Hi, Bennett. I'm sorry you're not feeling well.
No, I know. I still think I'm 35, that's why.
We all do.
I'm only 36. What are you laughing about?
I know, I turned 21.
Definitely. Hey, Amber's here. Hey, Amber. Hi, Cher. I see Anne and I see Carol. Hi,
Hey,
Josh.
Josh.
Long time no talk. Wow, Nicole, you're here.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Feeling sick.
Yeah, you're sick?
I was telling them I think I'm still 35, that's why.
That'll do it.
Nicole, it looks like you have a bit of a cold too, or is that allergies?
Um, it's been a long journey of illness for about a month. So,
Sorry.
yeah, it's slowly getting better though. So, but everybody wash your hands. It's a tricky season this year.
Aloha, Chair.
How have you been, Carrie and Cheryl?
I've been good. It's been good.
Did you say Carrie and Cheryl, or did you say Carrie May Cheryl? I don't know what you said.
I said Carrie and Cheryl, but I said it really quick.
I was gonna say, well, that kind of sounds like Carrie's last name. Doing well. It's good to see your face. It's good to see everyone's face. Thank you all for attending.
And Rona is here too. Hey, Rona.
Hi, is it okay? I don't have a camera on this computer. Can I stay off?
Yes, of course.
Thank
I
you.
don't have a camera either. Chair, it's 1:32. But if you want to wait one more minute,
Sorry, I was on mute that whole time. Sure. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Military and Veterans Affairs Committee. So we do have a full agenda. I guess we'll just slowly get started until we'll get the meeting started here at 1:33 p.m. So I know this meeting is being recorded. It is 1:33. My name is Trong Malone. I am the chair of the committee. I would also like to acknowledge my committee vice chair, Cheryl Cross. So this is a public meeting under the open law. The committee members and public guests are viewing in Zoom, and we have staff at the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations office in room 317 in case members or guests wish to meet at an on-site location. To start the meeting and to document it in the minutes, I will ask members and guests to quickly introduce themselves with their name and organization. So if it's okay, I'm just gonna go across my screen with Carrie, starting with you, Carrie. Oh, you're on mute, Carrie.
Okay, Carrie Miyashiro, Quad D Solutions.
Thank you. And next I see Cheryl.
Aloha, Chair. Thank you so much for hosting today. I'm the co-chair of the Military Veterans Affairs Committee, a proud councilwoman and Incan Executive Search consultant.
Thanks, Cheryl. Hi, Nicole.
Aloha, Nicole Anderson, and currently unaffiliated, but just supporting military and veteran initiatives and really glad to be a part here with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. And Bonette, you're next on the screen.
Bonette Misalucha, Executive Director of Workforce Development Council. Forgive me for not having video. I'm feeling ill. But I'm
Okay.
here.
Thank you. Rona.
Hi, Rona Fukumoto with Lanakila Pacific and also on the Workforce Development Council.
Thanks, Rona. Let's see. Winell.
Hi, Winell Kaneshiro, Hawaii State Department of Education, Workforce Development Branch.
Thanks, Winell. Let's see. Dr. Gomes, thanks for being here.
Thank you for the invitation. Aloha, everyone. Farah Marie Gomes, Associate Vice President for Student Affairs with the University of Hawaii System.
Thank you. Evan.
Evan Palmer, WDC staff.
Thanks, Evan. Victoria.
Hi, everyone. Victoria Harvey with Hiring Our Heroes.
Tracy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tracy Steele, Senior Program Manager with Military Spouse Fellowships with Hiring Our Heroes.
And Joshua.
Aloha, Josh Kaakua. I'm here as a guest. I'm with the Community College, University of Hawaii Community Colleges system.
Thank you. Hi, Anne.
Hi, everyone. Anne Greenlee here, Director DOL Vets for Hawaii and Guam. Good to be here.
Thanks, Anne. Rosella.
Aloha, everyone. Rosella Gardashone, Chair, County of Hawaii Workforce Development Board.
Thanks for being here. Amber.
Thank you.
Hi, Amber Kana here with the Seafarers International Union, part of the Workforce Development Council.
Kat.
Chair, if I may just interrupt quickly. So Amber is one of our newest council members. She actually passed confirmation by the Senate and will be voted on at the House on the Senate floor on April 22, if I'm not mistaken. So congratulations, Amber.
Thank you.
Awesome. Kat.
Hi, can you hear me? I just want to make sure.
We can.
Okay. I am Kat Andrews of the Pacific Islands at the Department of Veteran Affairs. I am the Community Employment Coordinator for Hawaii under Homeless Services.
And did I miss anybody? Feel free to come off mute if I missed anybody.
Kelly Kitavis, WDC staff in the room. Hi.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
No, that's okay, the camera was off.
Anybody else we missed? Oh, Carol, I'm sorry. Carol, we can't hear you. We can't hear anything. Okay. Maybe we can fix that while our first guest speaker is speaking, so we will be able to hear your updates later. Thanks, Carol. Thank you all again for joining today. So we're grateful to have several wonderful presenters on our agenda. So we did have to change the agenda a little bit because Dr. Gomes has to speak before the legislature today at 2 o'clock. So Without further ado, I'm going to present her, and today's discussion is all about our Pillar 2 catalyst, education. So I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. I I wanted to maybe just start with a really brief overview. And again, I apologize that I have to step out for that 2 o'clock hearing, which is on mental health, which impacts all of our students. But definitely we know there is an even more direct connection to our military connected students as well. So we're grateful for the support that we can get from the legislature in this area. But maybe what might be most productive for my few minutes with you today is to just give an overview of what we have organizationally in an attempt to ensure that all campuses are having similar conversations with regard to our service to this population of students, and then looking forward, what we see as far as our um movement toward improving in that direction, right? So if I can share with you all that I came into this role as the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs in October of 2022. Prior to that, I was at the UH Hilo campus for about 16 years, and definitely working in different areas across the institution and seeing where we had strengths and where we needed to make some of those improvements. So in the capacity I am now, we actually had already been convening a group of individuals, representatives across all 10 campuses, in a committee that we call Serving Military Connected Students. And so we identify that population of students as active military, retired, spouses, dependents. I mean, we are trying to be as inclusive as possible. Part of the challenge with that are different regulations, as well as identification, right? Because certain populations are coming with orders or other documents that are easy to identify and code students, and others take a little more effort in being able to recognize students and provide the benefit. So out of the gate, we want to recognize that for our military serving students, we want to extend as many benefits to as many of those students that qualify. It is a philosophical discussion. I'm sure many of you on the call can appreciate that while we want to make sure that we can provide these benefits to students with regard to one of the areas we're working on right now is priority registration. Um, there are certain individuals where, because of the lens through which they operate, require much more documentation than might be necessary. And so we're trying to remove as many of those barriers as possible without streamlining it so much that for the areas where we do need to report, we may not have some of the information because we've streamlined it too much. So there is a delicate balance there. I'm happy to say that we actually have a final draft of the committee's, this most recent committee's report that is going to be going to our new President Hensel. And so you can't see me referring to it right now, but it is a draft where the most recent version of the committee broke up into 3 subcommittees that focused in the areas of best practices, policies and procedures, and training. And so once this report goes to the president, it will actually be posted on our website and it'll be public information thereafter. So I'm happy to share a copy of the report with this committee or with an individual on the committee that can further disseminate it further for everyone else to see. We're happy to partner with other individuals. I will just share with you some of the highlights of this report in terms of the recommendations for next steps moving forward, because I think as much as I want to give credit to the committee for the hard work they put in, it is also about, well, what are we going to do to make sure that we take action on the work of the committee? So a few of the next steps identified by this group, a system-wide implementation of priority registration. So again, we have priority registration for certain groups of individuals. Our students with disabilities is one population. Sometimes they require online courses because they aren't able to physically come to campus. And so we've already created a mechanism to enable priority registration for that population. So as long as there's a way for us to consistently identify and code our military connected students, that should be something we're able to do also. So that is an immediate next step. For those of you that are connected to the federal government and what's happening there, we are tracking like 13 different bills at different levels and across different agencies that may have implications to what we do with regard to our service to our students in this population. So we are tracking many of those policies, but also looking at our own internal policies because some of them haven't been updated for several years at this point. So we have some executive policies. One of them focuses on leave. So we, whether that leave is short term or long term, I don't know if you guys remember, but when the volcano was erupting, National Guard members were called, and like that was a different kind of deployment or call to service than others, and not all campuses were prepared for that. So learning from these real life experiences coming at us very quickly. And one of the other recommendations that I am really interested in being able to launch is training for all of our faculty and staff across the board. Because while we employ several staff members to specifically provide service to our military connected students, the faculty who teach them and staff in other areas that provide general support may not always be aware of the totality of what military connected students have experienced and therefore are bringing with them in their lived experience as now a UH student. So being able to better support those students is important. Federal compliance in the area of cataloging our courses, because that goes to certification so that our students can get the aid they are eligible for. There's a little bit of tightening up that we can do in that area. And finally, this is a nice to have, and eventually we will get there. The establishment of metrics and assessment in these areas so that we can have a regular and ongoing conversation about better serving our military connected students. So one of the ways we intend to start that process is convening focus groups with this population of students. So high level is really what I wanted to maybe start with on today's share, and happy to have conversations offline with other individuals as you may have questions, and come back for future meetings as necessary. So thank you for the opportunity to share today.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Gomes? Oh,
Yes.
Chair, if I may.
Yes.
If you would like to send it to WDC to us, and we're happy to disseminate it to the members of the committee, maybe even the full board. I think there may be great interest there. But I'm intrigued by the training that you were saying. So that's a sensitivity training, right? For those who are teaching or interacting at the university with our military personnel.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Just a quick question, and I forgive my ignorance, but if a military personnel takes extra classes, will they receive recognition within their unit, like a bump in salary, or maybe even something on their personnel file that would make it advantageous for them to actually seek higher learning?
I can answer that.
Go ahead.
I can answer that question for you, Bennett. Yes, so for some of our military members, yes, I would say more for the enlisted members where they can get a certain number of points in order to get promoted. Obviously, if individuals want to move on to potentially go to a different job or cross over from being enlisted to becoming an officer, they would need a degree. So there are obviously quite a few benefits of achieving some type of college degree. And it will definitely vary by service.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah,
et
very
cetera.
good. Good to know.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Dr. Gomes. I don't know if there's any other quick questions. I know we are also going to have a roundtable discussion after we hear from our other speakers. I think I have a list of 100 questions for you, but I'll hold off on those and look forward to reconnecting with you in the future. Are there any quick questions for her? I know she's going to have to log off here in a minute.
I know. Thank you for taking this from your car, Dr. Gomes. And thank you so much for all you're doing for our military affiliated community in Hawaii.
Yes, not a problem. I am dropping into the chat my email address. Happy to connect with anyone offline. Email me and we can connect from there, and I will absolutely forward that report as soon as it gets transmitted to President Hensel. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
So if you have been attending our meetings regularly, you will likely note that we've been featuring elements of our state unified plan, which of course, the plan has 4 pillars. And today, like I said, we're tackling pillar number 2, which is focused on strengthening our education and training alliances. So our team leaders, our pillar 2 catalyst team leaders are here with us today, Wanel and Josh, and they're going to share an overview of the goals and objectives of the state unified plan for pillar number 2, because the focus of this committee, of course, we're interested in the current efforts to strengthen education and training alliance, particularly for our military veterans and their families. So Wanel and Josh, I'll turn over the floor to you.
Sure. Thank you. Is it okay if I share our slides? We have just a couple of slides.
Please do.
See if I can figure this out. And I was gonna say, every time I have to go to the ledge, I get like cold sweats. So I give her credit. Sure. Sorry. You'd think by now with all of the practice that we've had, I would be able to do this well.
I can share it if you want.
I
Manel.
think I got it. All right, sorry. Hi, Ken and Wanel Kaneshiro. And as part of Pillar 2, Josh Ka'akau and Kiala Monaco has also been part of the team. Kiala was unable to join us today. Again, we're Pillar 2, Education and Training Alliance. Our focus really is on trying to better prepare our students on the education side, as well as our underskilled, unskilled workforce for viable careers within the workforce. So this is our Pillar 2 Catalyst team members. As you can see, it's a variety of education organizations, private industry, state agencies, as well as advocacy and philanthropic groups. So it's a pretty well-rounded team. And Josh, you can step in whenever.
And I just wanted to make a plug that for Pillar 2, we just had one initial meeting.
Oh yeah.
So if you're interested in education and training and alliances, even just to sit in, this is not an exclusive list. We would welcome folks here to join, and you can just let Baynet know or let one know or I know, and we'll make sure that you get the next Zoom and come as available.
And we know that workforce development has been top of mind for a lot of organizations. So the more people we can get involved in the conversation, the better, at least for Josh and I to, the more we will be able to figure out how we can better prepare our students for your workforce. So the more voices, the better for us. Thank you. Oh, as you well probably have already heard, the State Unified Plan for the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, or WIOA, was approved back in June 2024. I know Bonnet has worked very hard with all of the teams, with all of us to get that done. In December, we had our Synergy Summit where the pillars were introduced. The summit was at the Foreign Trade Center. We had about over 60 attendees. Again, the 4 pillars were discussed, and then we talked about thinking about the North Star goal. For the pillars, these are the goals that are set forth in our plan. Pillar 1, alignment with economic growth. Pillar 2, education, training alliances. Pillar 3, removing barriers to workforce success. And then Pillar 4, workforce synergy. So Josh and I are going to focus on Pillar 2, education and training alliances.
We're just going to give the high level goal and refresh your memory on the objectives of Pillar 2. I just think of it as building bridges. And so this is, I mean, I think Baynet asked me to support in the convening. I represent the University of Hawaii system, and I work closely with Farah and others. And we have a team that, we want to be a key player in partnering with our employers and our agencies to make sure that we're serving the state. And then our counterpart one now at the Department of Education. And so we're in it with you. We wear educator hats, but we're looking for all stakeholders involved and other trainers. Doesn't have to be solely public higher ed, DOE. We want to think very creatively about what kind of workforce training our state system might need. Next. Yeah, thank you. For our Catalyst team, and actually this is our charge for all 4 of the Catalyst pillars are we're trying to frame up. Oh, sorry, go back. Yeah, we're trying to just take a landscape of what are the current partnerships, what are the current programs, are there things that we should prioritize to work together as a group. We want to set key performance indicators, identify data needs, support, and we're trying to do this part, final recommendations back to the large WDC. We're trying to do this, I think in like 2 months, 3 months. So it's kind of it's not only like a planning and idea thing. We're trying to really take actual concrete, what are we going to do? We want to take some action here. Next. And then our full report to the governor in December. Maybe, sorry, that was kind of quick, but maybe I can go back to the bulleted list. Maybe 2 slides back. Yeah, stop here.
I think if I can, sorry, if I can just
go ahead.
If I can just jump in quickly, I think one of the things that we are trying to do with the pillar, like Josh said, is try to figure out how we can identify programs for our students and our unskilled, underskilled workforce to help them better prepare for a viable career, right? Like we're trying to build all of our workforces so that our residents can be, like Superintendent Hayashi always said, globally competitive, locally committed. At the Department of Education, we are primarily K-12, but we do have an adult education program that will provide some job training. And that we have across all major islands. So I know that part of this committee is trying to figure out how we can better serve our veterans. And for our veterans who do need additional training, we do have programs, or we may have programs within the Department of Education. I know even for like the community colleges, and Josh could talk more about that, they not only have credit programs, but they also have non-credit programs that are available for our veterans that they can take. I don't know, Josh, if you want to.
Yeah, we have a lot of things going on with different parties. We're trying to lay out the full spectrum and put the pieces together. Sorry, can I go back one more slide? Yeah, I think I skipped this. Pillar 2 objectives. So we have the big goal, building alliances or bridges and partnerships with education and training. And these 7 objectives, they're not in an order, but these are the 7 in the plan that give a little bit more detail in what do we mean by building bridges. And so I won't read through each of them, but these are the 7 areas that we're charged as a Catalyst group to think deeply about. Is our training meeting the industry needs? Are we collaborating? Is there collaboration happening with across employers, businesses, pathways, upskilling and reskilling? And this is it could be for targeted groups. So, maybe this is something that we should think about with a framework towards military connected population, apprenticeship programs, leveraging funding. We might have the programs, but people might not be aware of them, or we're not participating to the scale that's optimum. And then our data sharing and performance tracking. So these are the kind of the 7 objectives that are laid out in our plan. And that's the overview. I mean, that's what Pillar 2 is all about. And we're going to turn it back over to the large group for discussion and questions.
Yeah, thank you, Josh and Winnell. Are you able to tell us, after the first meeting that took place, what were the major areas, after the discussions that the group kind of wanted to move forward with? Are you able to give us an idea on that? So as we later talk about, as we discuss this topic later today, we kind of keep those in the back of our minds.
I think so that was one of our challenges, is of those 7, people like all of them. And we're like, okay, maybe some can do areas that are important to them. So we didn't fully go through a prioritization. There was energy around data. We also tried to put them in, like, there was somewhat of an order to like, we wanted to start with the inventory, right? But there wasn't any that we thought that we were behind in. There's elements in all of those areas but I think our challenge is, like, UH has a plan for workforce, and the DOE has a different plan, and DBET and DLIR had kind of like a different aspect to it. So I think I saw our work is, how do we organize it such that we're coordinated?
Yeah, I think that was one of the things that I noticed through the discussion was that everybody, like a lot of our state agencies, as well as some of our um, sector partnership, right, have had conversations on education and training programs and have been pulling together different resources to be able to provide these training and resources to our schools and our programs. And like Josh said, I think it's a matter of making, how do we pull it all together so that it's a concerted effort, right? Instead of like it being piecemeal here and there. So I think these convenings will help us to do that, will help us to kind of get on the same page and then start hitting down the same path. Like data, like Josh mentioned, one of our challenges I think is the data side, right? Trying to be able to come up with metrics that will measure our efforts. And part of that has to do with, at least for us at the education level, we're not able to track our students after they leave us. So we are not able to say how successful our programs are, right? We've been doing a lot of work around career and technical education, and trying to put systems in place, infrastructure in place for students to get more work-based learning and training. But how that translates after they leave us, it's hard for us to tell.
I can share in the chat here. I think you'll have access to it. But these are some of the things that people were interested in. And it was just like an activity for us to brainstorm on where is their energy per these 7 different objectives. Can you let me know if you can access that link? Yeah, so you know, we didn't actually get to talk through each of them, but this is kind of where people were thinking about. So examples of, you know, registered apprenticeships and what
Do you have that view where we did the Mentimeter, Josh? Where it, you don't have that, yeah?
yeah, yeah, I
It's
didn't
a
have
different,
that.
yeah, no worries. But I just wanted to validate what Wanell and Josh, who are excellent Catalyst team leaders, by the way. During that session, it was quite clear that there were duplication and redundancy in the system. So I think the value that this process is bringing is that we are, I think, private sector, public sector, and nonprofits are all on this at the same table, and we're like trying to weigh in not just from our own organizational viewpoint, but really more what is the best value for the state. And as we're going through this process, hopefully there's going to be some, you know, maybe some tough decisions that you need to make to kind of say, okay, well, there's all of us are in this one space, but there's a gap. So perhaps we need to you know, talk about who should fill those gaps. So this kind of conversation is more, there's some that are short term and some that are long term, but at least it's happening. We're, you know, making an effort to eliminate the silos and making sure that we're all there's an integrated approach, and it's not just public sector just doing our own thing and private sector doing their own thing. It's really collaborating. It's very inspiring when, you know, you hear the conversations. Like this morning we had a conversation about the North Star, for instance, and we're still, you know, working through the process, but hopefully as we go through that, there's going to be some clarity in that vision, in that I think after that the action plan would be more I guess obvious as we, you know, come up with that vision, that, you know, how to, you know, bring everybody under the same umbrella, under the same North Star, as we call it. But by the way, so all these conversations are going on with each pillar. So you can imagine the you know, the number of people who are engaged in this process. So it's again very inspiring.
Thank you, Bennett, Winnell, and Josh. Does anybody have any questions as they went over this overview?
Just one quick question. This is really well put together. Thank you so much. And what a huge undertaking you all are approaching with this pillar. So thank you very much for the work that you're doing. I love that you're going to find those opportunities to kind of unify and create patterns across these organizations. One question that I have is, will the funding sources for some of these organizations be considered? Just because I know some organizations, if it's federally funded, they must collect this information, or they must collect that, or they must do these services, just to make sure that even though they don't stay siloed and they work with those private organizations, that we remain mindful of those obligations.
Yeah, so funding sources will be considered. In fact, to lay the groundwork for that, there is a funding report that we are working on and should be ready to be launched in about maybe a couple of weeks. It is Workforce Development Council in collaboration with the Hawaii Workforce Funders Collaborative, and it'll provide you an overview of how much federal funds are being devoted to workforce as well as state funding. And again, it's trying to set up a baseline of knowledge for how vulnerable we are, as well as like where the opportunities may lie. So watch for it. You'll hear more about it in the very near future.
Any other questions?
If I can just make a quick pitch, and I don't know if this is the forum for this. One of the things that I think everybody knows, right, that we have a teacher shortage. And one of our big shortage areas is our career technical education programs. And I feel like a lot of our military veterans may be well suited for teaching some of these courses. So if you know of anybody who's interested, feel free to reach out to me and I can help the person navigate our system so that they can get into our classrooms. We have done a lot of work on the career technical education side as far as teachers, and our Hawaii Teachers Standards Board can now recognize industry experience as in lieu of education, in bachelor's and so forth. So that will place our CTE teachers on a regular teacher scale, which before they could not be without a bachelor's degree.
Oh, no, I love that. Is there a way that we can, I can maybe do that with you offline and walk through what that process would look like?
Yep.
That's definitely something potentially that we could bring to our, military installations and different units that we have across the island.
And I think for us, another thing that I know that I at least have done a horrible job with, and in terms of workforce development, is working with our military to see how we can get our kids there. We always think college and employers, but I know that the military is a great source of training and resources, especially for our kids who can't necessarily afford to go to school. That's a good option for them to be able to pick up to learn some of the skills and some of the trades, or the different fields and workforce. So I think that's something that I would also like to be able to do, is to kind of connect with the military and see how we can work together to get our kids into the workforce.
Winnell, I know you're busy, but you're welcome to attend our Military and Veteran Affairs Committee every quarter.
Add something else to your plate. Just another quick question. For those CTE instructors, would it be specific instructors for different schools? Is that what your need is, or is it just kind of across the board, CTE in general?
Right now, our programs are school-based. And our schools will offer what they have the capability to offer, right? What they have the capacity to offer. So we may have programs that our kids may want to take, like auto body, for instance, and if they don't have a teacher who can teach it, then they're not going to be able to offer it. So our hope is moving forward that we start looking at how we can start consolidating programs and moving kids around. But, you know, I think everybody knows our student transportation issues right now. So trying to get kids from one school to another during a school day might be a little bit challenging. But we're exploring different options on how to be able to offer our students more access to programs.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I will say even in my little teeny tiny neck of the woods with CVS Health, I mean, we have tried to partner with schools on CTE programs and working with our UHCCs as well to potentially teach some of those courses. And they always tell us, you know, we could teach more, we could do more, but obviously the shortage again of teachers. So yeah, happy to continue this discussion. And I see a nice comment there too in the chat from Tracy with Hiring Our Heroes. She always has wonderful spouse candidates who are educators, and they may be able to fill some of those roles. So hopefully you all can connect on that.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Well, thank you both again for that. Next, we have our very own Vice Chair, Cheryl Cross, and she's going to share a little bit about the work being done to strengthen the Transition Assistance Program. Cheryl is going to provide a summary of a recent hearing in Congress, specific the House Committee hearing on Veterans Affairs. So,
aloha. Thank you so much, Chair. And committee members for joining me. I'll make this as fun as possible because nobody wants to sit through a 2-hour oversight meeting, but I did. And I even downloaded the transcript into ChatGPT and it came up with this fabulous presentation that I'm going to share with you. So I'm going to offer you a brief summary of the March 25th oversight hearing held by the House Veterans Affairs Subcommittee on Economic Opportunity. The topic was Mission Incomplete: Strengthening the TAP program to ensure a smoother transition to civilian life for tomorrow's veterans. The hearing focused on the TAPS, or Transition Assistant Program, its current gaps in delivery and outcomes. While TAP is mandatory by law, only 52% of service members are completing it on time. Commanders continue to waive participation, often citing mission requirements. That's contributing to what members called a national security concern and a major breakdown in retention and readiness. Chairman Derek Van Orden is a retired Navy SEAL. I think he comes from the state of Wisconsin or Minnesota. He emphasized that TAP should be treated not as a side program, but as a critical part of force readiness. He even proposed tying officer promotions to TAP compliance. Ranking member Chris Pappas echoed these concerns, stating that we cannot afford to lose track of transitioning service members during a volatile economy. Witnesses from the Department of Defense, the Veterans Affairs, and Department of Labor testified on recent efforts to improve timeliness and access. For example, the DoD has begun training commanders on their TAP responsibilities, and the VA's Solid Start program has initiated up to 21 check-ins with new veterans during their first year. The Department of Labor highlighted their Employment Navigator and Partnership program, which has led to faster employment and higher salaries for those who participate. But we all agreed, I wasn't there, they all agreed this is not enough. And I know you all will agree this is not enough either. So outside panelists included the VFW, Hiring Our Heroes, Elizabeth O'Brien, the Institute for Veterans and Military Families, 50 Strong, Candy Tillman, and Consumers Energy. They called for several improvements. They included more employer involvement in shaping TAP content, earlier access for spouses, expansion of SkillBridge and Navigator programs, and stronger hands-off to community partners, especially in rural areas. One of the strongest recommendations came from the VFW. Create a dedicated Undersecretary of Defense for transition. Right now, TAP is spread across at least 11 federal agencies with no single point of accountability. It's difficult to enforce or modernize. In closing, the hearing confirmed what many of us already know. TAP works best when it's early, personalized, and supported by all sectors, government, nonprofits, and employers. But today, it remains inconsistent, under-tracked, and undervalued. As we look at workforce development efforts, especially here in Hawaii, all of us on this committee should be asking, how might we build stronger pipelines from service to civilian life? What is the bridge programming? And what role can states and local employers play in closing those gaps? Thank you so much, Chair, for allowing me to talk about this important meeting. If you'd like, I can find the link. It is on YouTube. You can watch it, but that's pretty much a summary. Any questions? I see the Hiring Our Heroes people just beaming. Your fearless leader, Elizabeth, did such a great job. Even when Senator Derek Van Orden went off on an absolute tangent for who knows where this came from, but that's, if you go 2 hours into it, it's actually quite comical. She handled herself very well. Any questions? Thank you, Carol. I appreciate the notes. With no questions, I'll give my time back.
Kat has a question. Saw her hand.
Go ahead, Kat.
Yeah, I didn't have so much a question, but more of gratitude to say thank you for sharing that. As someone at the VA, I think on a weekly basis, when I talk to veterans, how often I hear when I ask about TAP. So yeah, as somebody here that they didn't get to go through TAP, or they didn't finish, it does break my heart that someone didn't get to complete the TAP training. When I hear the questions that they ask me that I know is supposed to be done through TAP, and I'm like, what happened? And it's exactly what you said, like something quote unquote mission critical came up. And I don't ever say, oh my God, like that's not supposed to happen. But it does when they're supposed to be transitioning out, how important it is to be able to complete this part of your transition when you're going out and you're transitioning out. So yeah, I think it's important that this information that you just shared to be able to get that link so I can share some of that, because I often get this question about TAP, and as somebody at the VA, there isn't a lot that I can do other than to say, well, you're already out. Let me see how much I can share with you now that you're already out. So I appreciate you sharing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Kat, and thank you for being on the front lines of serving our veterans and military affiliated folks through the VA. I do have a question for Trong. Can you clarify? I have always thought as a civilian, as somebody who's sort of sat on the outside of this, that is it only officers, commissioned officers and NCOs have the opportunity to attend twice, or is it now everyone? Do you know? Can you give me more fidelity, or maybe Anne? Trong, you first.
I don't know. I'm going to pass that to Anne.
Okay, Anne. Anne Greenlee.
Unmuting. And like Tron, I don't know either. Because it's really a DOD versus a DOL. We would encourage people to attend more than once, but it's a DOD issue whether or not commanders are allowing that to happen.
So I can actually respond to that pretty thoroughly. Right now, at least on the Army side, transitioning service members are put into one of 3 categories, and the congressional requirements are dependent on which of those categories they're placed into. Those are the things that they must complete in order to separate out. However, there are additional optional classes, and they can take those classes as many times as they want. However, their command does not have to allow them to attend more than once, the one time required to complete. And for military retirees, they have access to the TAP services for life. So they can continue to return beyond their transition. It's really those junior enlisted first termers that are at a higher risk for their transition.
Got that. Thank you so much.
And I don't know if anybody in the group knows as well, like, do we do a better job of transitioning service members going through TAP in Hawaii? Are those numbers available? I don't know if anybody knows that. Maybe not.
don't know that number, but I do tend to go to the different bases about once a month. So I'll ask around to the different TAP offices and see if they're willing to share that info.
Yeah, it kind of, I guess, gives us insight on maybe installations that we could be or should be supporting a little more. Because, you know, those service members may not have that opportunity to know about, you know, about assistance for them.
It's such a good idea. You know, we kind of abandoned that vision when we started to try and get ahead of everything to, you know, the people for the newcomers meetings and really trying to attract people as they're coming to Hawaii rather than they've already made the decision to move, they're out processing. They're really not thinking of Hawaii. They're thinking of home, and home is not Hawaii. So planting the seed for us was very important. Workforce development. How might we skill and upskill those folks who are here or the family members or those transitioning out so that we see more than the 1 to, you know, such a small percent of the approximate 10,000 people that could stay. And again, that number is fluid. It changes. It all just depends on the inflow and outflow. And when I met you 8 years ago, you and Bridget Comini, I was grilling you on how many people are leaving. It's like, you don't understand, Cheryl, this changes every month. Every service branch has a report that they give. It's just a matter of us finding that. But again, as a community and as a committee, we really have put our focus on that on ahead, not realizing that there's a point where it's too late. And that really is too late for us. But it looks like they're trying to do a better job at creating a better program, because I have not met one service member that does not have a complaint on the forced by, it's like being fed by the fire hose, week-long journey that they have to take for absolute everything. And that is what TAP is. So thank you for letting me elaborate on that.
Thank you all so much. Can I say one more thing just for awareness for this committee? The Army has put out a notice that they're considering, the Pentagon is considering reducing force from 450,000 troops by 900,000 or 90,000, excuse me, which is approximately a 10% reduction in the size of at least one branch of our service. So focusing on those transitioning services right now is very well timed potentially.
Nicole, is there any more information? Sorry, I haven't, I'm not up to date on that. Is there any more information on what type of forces those are? Or is it a mix across the board?
This was just widely published by military.com. Unfortunately, I haven't seen anything official by Department of Defense come out. If I find something, I'll share it.
Okay, thank you. Well, this leads it right into our discussion topic. So, you know, I really wanted to move us into a roundtable discussion, taking into account, you know, some of those military education benefits, some of the things that Dr. Gomes talked about, as well as our facilitators of our Catalyst 2, and also some of the things that Cheryl talked about. You know, how do we support our military with education benefits, and how can we effectively communicate these benefits to service members and their families? Cheryl brought up, you know, this committee has been able to help uplift the AJC and get them at the forefront and to get them at the newcomers briefings to let our families know about services of the AJC, which they didn't know about before. But for me too, as a retired service member, I don't remember seeing a whole lot of information on educational benefits unless I went to the education center, unless I was myself seeking some additional education. But I don't see that kind of being pushed at the forefront to say, hey, you know, the UH system has in-resident tuition. They have these short-term classes, things like that to really help our military service members and families, you know, get their education while they're here in the hopes that they will stay here. So happy to open the floor for discussion, to talk about any current gaps that currently exist for educational benefits for service members, veterans and their families, or how can we better coordinate with our educational institutions to open access to programs. Just open the floor for any comments.
Pardon my ignorance, as far as like online school for folks who are deployed, Is that still going on? Because I know at some point, I know Chaminade University, I used to sit on the Board of Regents. That was a big core focus for them. And has that resulted in an increase in enrollment?
I don't have those numbers, Banette. I don't know if anybody else here knows, but yes, of course, there are many online school, online educational opportunities for service members. So I think many of them do take that opportunity to complete their education online. And, also it depends upon, the timeliness of that, what they're studying. Maybe the duration, maybe they're looking for shorter duration courses, so they can complete their education in a shorter amount of time. Also, you are aware that they can also receive additional benefits. Those
Yes.
veterans can receive additional housing benefits, et cetera, for taking courses as well.
I'm happy to research that. I'm curious.
So Banette, you're gonna look things up like post 9/11 GI Bill.
Mm.
Service members are afforded within certain timeframes, education. Their family members may take advantage of that. They may give it to their children, or spouses rather, or their children. It's a choice. But I think this is why, and I'm speaking because we have so many military spouses that we're trying to, bring more attention to, and is that they're so highly educated because they've been enabled and able by the military to take advantage of these programs. So there's some great resources, and I'm happy to go offline and help you with that. Banette.
Yeah, please. I'd like to learn more about the
Sure.
issue.
Especially since you were on a board of regents, I believe, for our advisors for Chaminade. That's right. I forgot about that. Kat, you had your hand up.
I did. So yeah, I before I came over to homeless services, I worked VBA. And so when I would get veterans who, since a lot of that is because that is, while that is an employment benefit, we obviously do a lot of education and training when you are getting someone back to work. And so a lot of it, I did a lot of GI Bill conversions, shall we say, right? So under Chapter 33. So one of the things is really learning a lot about the chapters, right? Chapter 33 being GI Bill, which is an education benefit. And then Chapter 31, which is considered an employment benefit, also does training. But schools like Chaminade, University of Phoenix, the reason why these are what is called, just to give some education, why these are considered military-friendly schools is because of access, right? They're very accessible to our military families. And not only that, just kind of, Cheryl, what you were mentioning too, this ability for our military to be able to transfer their benefits. So one of the things that I still do, but a lot of us who work within that certain realm of providing benefits and benefit services, particularly around employment, is making sure our veterans know which benefits, of course, to keep to themselves. A lot of our veterans like to transfer their benefits to their family members. But if what you're called 100%er, right, letting them know that there's things like Chapter 36 that their spouse and their kids can take advantage of so that they can use their full benefits to themselves. So yeah, there's a lot of things to generally look up, but certain schools, the reason why certain veterans use, and military as well, use certain schools because they have multiple campuses and because they have classes online, so that when they do transition, particularly if they're active duty, when they transition from active duty into then becoming a veteran, they can still go to school. And Tran, you mentioned this as well, that they're accelerated classes. They don't have to go for 12 to 14 to 16 weeks in order to complete a class. They're probably already used to doing 1 3-unit class, for 4 to 5 weeks and kind of knock that out. And they're already trained in that manner so that they know that they can do a master's program in 3-4 years, whereas the rest of people are, the traditional student, as we would say, is already on that path of like, it's going to take me 6 years, whereas a military student is like, no, I can knock this out in 4. What would take somebody else 6? So those are some of the things that I still talk with veterans about, that when they're like, I don't want to do the quote unquote traditional path. Can you let me know what schools I can use? And so I still do that. Even if they don't have benefits, I still have them access like Syracuse University, which provides training for free to veterans. So I still do a lot of that. Yep. I used to do, as you probably, some of you guys know, I used to do webinars about this all the time. And that's the #1 request. How do I access education and employment benefits through the VA or any other services? So yeah.
Thank you, Kat. That's wonderful. Great info.
I eventually, if you want to email me, I still have all those resource sheets. I still have, they're all clickable links, so you can drop me an email and I can still send those to you so you can look at them and research it some more.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hi, Rosella, you have your hand up?
I do. Thank you so much. I apologize. I think it was Amber who was speaking earlier about the foreseeable reductions. Was that, I think I caught that it was a Pentagon. Can I just clarify if, I know there isn't anything official out, but on military.com there was was it the Pentagon?
You're talking about the 8% reduction that everybody across the board has been asked to reduce their forces. And I think it's civilian, not necessarily military.
Okay, I just wanted to get some clarification on that and whether it's any particular geographic area that it is here in Hawaii.
I don't think they have gotten to that. I think they're still going through all the due diligence, and I think there's some certain steps that are being taken. So like the voluntary part first, and then at some point they're going to consider whatever they need to consider. But I think the headlines, if I remember correctly, was that each branch of the military needs to start looking at 8% across the board reduction in forces. But I think it's more aimed at civilian versus those that are in uniform.
Got it. Thank you so much for the clarification.
Go
I
ahead.
think what Nicole mentioned earlier was, I put the article in the chat if you'd like to read it. It was the Army that was announcing a force reduction, that they're considering one. I don't think it's quite official yet, but as Annette was also sharing it, we're all hearing across the board of the civilian force as well. So, but at the moment, I think the Army is the only one that's kind of alluded to a large cut at the moment. But more info to come, right?
Thank you, Victoria.
Are you worried as an employer, Rosella?
For us, whenever it impacts the population, the discretionary income that would be spent on vacations definitely gets impacted. There was for the hospitality industry earlier this week, Travel Weekly on Oahu, and the sentiment is that it's just unknown. No one really knows what will happen. Out of that conference, what came is that we're not seeing a slowdown in the luxury properties. So we're not seeing a slowdown at like Four Seasons or those properties. So it doesn't appear that these cuts are impacting that level of wealth. But where we're seeing a slowdown are the middle tier properties, the 3-star, that's where we're seeing a slowdown. So if it continues to slow down, certainly hours will be cut, individuals will be furloughed, but we're certainly nowhere near that right now today.
Thank you, Rosella. So I guess kind of to go back to our discussion on our military population and educational benefits, maybe what role can our private sector partners play in expanding the opportunities, beyond what's covered by the GI Bill or any type of tuition assistance. And I guess I'll just start the conversation by saying, you know, as a private sector employer, we try to work with organizations, including obviously our military populations, and providing skill bridge programs or other educational opportunities. So would love to see if we can partner with our, you know, our UHCCs, our schools here locally, to provide a pathway for our military members, to help support them in that way, you know, even beyond GI Bill or tuition assistance. I know Winnell and Josh were saying, you know, one of the areas that they looked at and that I saw on the map were like braiding all the resources and funding that there is, because there is quite a bit of resources and funding that we could braid together to really help support our military members with their education benefits.
I have a question. It just occurred to me that Carol is on the call. And Carol, I know you're very familiar with the Quest program. Has there been a good number of military folks who have taken this opportunity to transition by being part of the 6-month Quest internship program?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now. Wonderful.
Awesome.
Yay.
Thank you. I had to change computer. So yeah, we do have some military vets that are enrolled in the Quest program. Quest is our federally funded it's a federally funded employment and training program. We feature internships of up 3 months at a time. It can be 6 months with an extension if additional training is needed or internship. So we have had some military vets co-enrolled in our Jobs for Veterans State Grant program, as well as in the Quest program. So the veteran in that case then would have the personalized attention of a specialized counselor who can work with them through the Disabled Veteran Outreach Program specialist, as well as through the Quest internship and the worksite supervisor for that internship. So it's really a good pairing, actually. We do have actually some military spouses in the Quest program as well. Ever since we started to focus on serving military spouses, starting last August, we've continued that emphasis. So I have more to say about that, but I just wanted to answer your question for now.
Thank you, Carol. What kind of outreach do you do? Do you go directly to the recruiters? I mean, to the folks at the military branches?
Yes, they started to do that. So thanks to Trang, who introduced our Oahu AJC staff, some of them to the Army contacts. They did start to go to the newcomers orientation. They had to sign an agreement, execute a financial agreement to be on base regularly for the newcomers orientation. But besides that, so there is more outreach we need to do. We need to really go through every single base, which we haven't started to do yet. Staff started to get really busy with all kinds of different projects and things going on. They had a shortage of staff. We are looking for staff. All of our American job centers, I think, are looking for staff as well. So we're suffering from staff shortages. But we are going ahead, and through Deb Uemura, who introduced some of our staff to the National Guard briefings, like our Big Island, Denise Pacheco started attending the National Guard briefings to the family members, so included spouses as well. And they did not know anything about the AJC. So Denise said, well, I'll tell you all about it. And partly as a result of that, but as a result, I think, pent up demand for having a hiring event in Big Island after not having had one for several years after COVID. They finally had one in February, I believe. It was, and did you go to that too?
I didn't, but our team did.
Okay, so I understand from them it was wildly successful. So there were over 50, something like 50 employers were there, government as well as private sector, and Rosella was there, I understand.
Yes, I was there, Carol, absolutely.
And after many, I guess, counts and estimates, the best estimate of the number attending was 2,000. So for Hilo, that's amazing, amazing accomplishment. And response was so good. Everyone really felt it was worthwhile and something that should be repeated. It was discussed at the mayor's level, at a cabinet level meeting, and they want to have it again regularly. As a result of the outreach to the National Guard, veterans, military spouse organizations, that 46 veterans attended. So out of 2,000, maybe 46 isn't too many, but they weren't keeping track. They weren't having everyone wasn't signing in. Only those who wanted to be recognized or be given special attention, they did sign in. And of those, 46 were veterans, which is a sizable number for Hilo. We were happy about that. So we did have a bunch of other things going on for veterans. Can I share it now, Trong, or should I wait? Oh, you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Yeah, definitely. So we don't run out of time. If you want to provide any updates and then any updates on our military spouse subcommittee.
Okay.
Wonderful.
All right. So just to let you know, oh, wait, I wanted to share screen. Can I share my screen for some events coming up?
Please do.
Okay. Do I need to do anything?
Do you see the share button at the bottom? Do you have a green arrow?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we have a Kauai resource hiring event, and you see it says priority of service for veterans, military, and military spouses. So military spouses are included now with the veteran priority of service at the time we have events. So this is the
Carol,
Kauai one.
are you sharing your screen? I don't
Yes,
see
I am. Oh,
I don't
sorry.
see it.
Do you see it now?
No.
All right. Okay. Anyway, Kauai is having something April 23, a hiring event. And then we also have oh, shoots, I can't even see it now. So anyway, let's see. I have my list. So hiring event for Kauai, April 23. Resume workshop, April 22 at the Oahu Job Center. Military spouse and vets get priority. Hiring event, May 20, Kehi Lagoon on Oahu. The first hour is just for vets and military spouses. So that's coming up in the future. In terms of outreach, besides going to the base and at National Guard briefings, we have now Anne Greenlee. We started to invite the AJC staff statewide to the TAP managers meeting, which is monthly. So they began to get familiar with TAP and the people there. Let's see, Hilo. In January 2025, we had a series of training by National Veterans Training Institute. We sponsored it again this year, and we invited the AJC staff statewide, as well as the local workforce development board staff to attend. We had one session, 3 days, about integrating services to veterans into the American Job Center. And that was really well done. It was something that I guess made everyone think about how they could benefit from having veterans become a priority, not just for certain programs, but for all AGC services. It's something that you know about, you know the rhetoric, but to actually do it and have details on how you're going to do it is something else. So at the end of the session, we did have a one-day meeting with the key staff of AJCs to talk about how are you going to integrate your services and give priority to vets and military spouses. So at the end of that particular day, every local area came up with a plan as to how they're going to do it. And so the next time we meet, we're going to say, okay, well, how have you done it and what have you done? Besides that 3-day workshop and that one-day meeting, we had one-day workshops by National Veterans Training Institute for serving justice involves vets, another one on vets with substance abuse disorders, and a third one about vets with disabilities. Now, we invite AJC members and partner agencies not to only serve veterans, but to get the techniques and skills to serve non-veterans, because the same principles apply for serving vets as well as non-vets. It's just that by having a little more information about specific kinds of issues or skills or circumstances of veterans, then everyone in the American Job Center can serve veterans more effectively and their spouses. So that's what we've been doing. We've been really busy with serving veterans and their spouses, and the spouse effort started to get a little bit lagging because everyone got so busy with other things. We have a summer youth program that's going to start up soon as well. And Quest, of course, is still going on. It will be ending September 30th. So we are really ramping up efforts to make sure that we get as many people to benefit as we can. We are starting to look at having another event for military spouses. And so Nicole Anderson is part of the discussion again as to where should we host it? Where would it be best? So we're going to look into different options and we'll discuss that at our military spouse meeting next month. So we do have our monthly military spouse meetings. It's just that this month we canceled it because there's some key staff, several key staff that couldn't attend. Well, that's it. Any questions?
Thank you, Carol. So next, I'd like to introduce our WDC Executive Director, Bennett Micheluda, to provide her updates.
Thank you, Chair. It's going to be a short update, and I know that many of you attend other committee meetings, and I usually give the same overview. So just wanted to share that we're very busy on two particular projects, one of which is the implementation of the State Unified Plan. We are in the middle of trying to plan for the next reiteration of the pillar meetings, as well as the convening of the North Star development. We had that discussion this morning. It was a very robust discussion, and I'm looking forward to, presenting that hopefully during the July Synergy Summit. Also, we're in the middle of transitioning as an attached agency. There are many moving parts to this, but our goal is to have a full transition by June 30th or July 1st, so that then what we're tasked with is to develop a memorandum of agreement between the Workforce Development Division as well as WDC. So there's clear demarcation of roles and responsibility. I do want to invite all of you folks to the economic panel that we're hosting at the end of the month, April 28th. I think many of you are on the route list, but if not, I'm going to send that to you because it would prove to be a very interesting discussion. It's the economic talk will be by Dr. Seth Colby, and he has very I would say interesting viewpoints about what we need to do to move the needle as far as economic growth and workforce development. And it's all, I think, preface on values. And he is not, I guess, shy about putting forth some kind of controversial in a way viewpoints, but for our consideration, if you want to move forward or move the state forward. Chair, if I'm available for any questions that you may have, we have a lot of things that are going on, as you can imagine, at WDC, but those are the two key points that I wanted to share.
Thank you, Bennett. Does anybody have any questions for Bennett at this time or comments? So at this time, oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just wanted to do a shout out to Amber, who's our new council member. Amber, I hope you had a good view or glimpse of how committee meetings work. And thank you to the leadership of our chair and co-chair or vice chair for leading the charge here at this meeting.
Thank you, Bennett. So at this time, the public is welcome to announce any upcoming events and comment on relevant issues that were not included in this meeting's agenda. Please be advised that in compliance with the Sunshine Law, the committee cannot discuss or act on any issues that were not included in this meeting's agenda, but issues raised during this period may be included in a future agenda for the committee's consideration. Are there any announcements? Quiet. I don't see any hands. So I guess I just have one announcement. I don't know if I said anything. I don't think I did at our last committee meeting, but I think I have told a couple of you that we are able to sponsor a kind of a small workforce training center on the west side of Oahu with US Vets. So we are, as a company with CVS Health, we're super excited about building that out with them. They're on the west side. And in the future, it will be open to, you know, our schools and other organizations to come and teach classes at that. So we're looking for some additional partners as well. We're excited about that.
Great job. Thank you. It's amazing what your organization is doing to support the military.
It is exciting. Any other comments? Any other events upcoming? Well, I thank you all for being here today.
Kat has one last one.
Okay, go ahead, Kat.
I have one last one, and now I'm trying to remember the date. So I will throw it out there, and I'm sorry I can't come on camera. I am, like a lot of us, right, have returned to the office, and there's a lot of stuff going on behind me. But yes, we are planning a stand down here in Hawaii. We haven't had one in a very long time. And hopefully I'll be able to actually send this information out via email, right? So you can actually read it. But we are going to be holding it over at Akaka, right? The Akaka Clinic, which it just hit 1 year on April 8th. So between all the different services, right, with also working with US Vets and IHS and all of this stuff to make sure that we are reaching our most vulnerable veterans. So we've coordinated, but for any of you who are on the call who actually are hiring, if you have jobs, that's what we're looking for right now, is to get some employers. So obviously we're going to be providing clothing and food and like healthcare services, but the AJCs are going to be there, right? The DVOPs are going to be there. We're going to be doing since we're going to be reaching our most vulnerable veterans, those who are in housing, as well as those who are unhoused, and obviously being able to have employment is very key for our veterans who are either housed, who are unhoused, who are in shelters and emergency housing. We would love to be able to get some employers out there so that we can actually get them jobs so their income is stable, so that we can get them into permanent housing. So I will leave my email in the chat, but also I'll go ahead and send out an email as well. Our event is going to be May 9th. And it's going to be at the Daniel K. Akaka VA Clinic, which is out in Kapolei. So I know that was really rushed, but again, I'll go ahead and send out an email just so you know. And even if you're just there to support, that would be great as well. So
yeah,
thank
Kat,
you.
thank you so much. I was going to ask that. Can we volunteer if we're not there for any other reason? I guess to come out and volunteer and help out?
I think so, right? And of course, Sean, if you guys have never met Sean, he's big former military guy himself. He has been running around. We've been trying to really coordinate this because we really want this to happen, to be able to reach our most vulnerable veterans. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it. So yeah, for sure. We'll see how this works. So
Can you send me the info, Kat?
I will, absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. Well, thank you, everyone. The next meeting for the Military and Veterans Affairs Committee is tentatively scheduled for July 17th at 1:30 p.m. Again, via Zoom or in person at the DLIR building, room number 317. Thank you all again for your participation, and there being no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 2:55 p.m. Thank you all.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Aloha.
Aloha.